Hey everyone, this is Liz. I'm going to be reading chapter 2 of Wallace Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich, published in 1910. There is a science of getting rich. The grammar here is a little bit awkward, so I might stumble a little bit. Whoever reprinted this missed some things. Anyway, here we go. I might make some commentary throughout. And of course, when it says man all the time, it of course means men and women. It was just 1910, folks. Okay, there is a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science. Like algebra or arithmetic. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches. Once these laws are learned and obeyed by any man, he will get rich with mathematical certainty. The ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way. Those who do things in this certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, get rich, while those who do not do things in this certain way, no matter how hard they work or how able they are, remain poor. It is a natural law that like causes always produce like effects, and therefore any man or woman who learns to do things in this certain way will infallibly get rich. That the above statement is true is shown by the following facts. I don't know if I fully agree with this fact, but here we go. Getting rich is not a matter of environment, for if it were, all the people in a certain neighborhood would become wealthy. The people of one city would all be rich, while those of other towns would all be poor. Or the inhabitants of one state would roll in wealth, while those of an adjoining state would be in poverty. This is Liz. I would say that some neighborhoods are definitely poor in general, but I do get his point. But everywhere we see rich and poor living side by side in the same environment and often engaged in the same vocations. When two men are in the same locality and in the same business, and one gets rich while the other remains poor, it shows that getting rich is not primarily a matter of environment. I do kind of agree with that. Some environments may be more favorable than others, but when two men in the same business are in the same neighborhood and one gets rich while the other fails, it indicates that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. And further, the ability to do things in this certain way is not due solely to the possession of talent. For many people who have great talent remain poor. Yes, while others who have very little talent get rich. Studying the people who have gotten rich, we find that they are an average lot in all respects. This is true. Having no greater talents and abilities than other men. It is evident that they do not get rich because they possess talents and abilities that other men have not, but because they happen to do things in a certain way. So I'll say too that some people are just wealthy and they don't know how they attract the wealth. We call them unconscious competence. But I think it's good to be conscious of what you're doing, because if you have steps or a way of getting rich, it's great to share it and help others, which is what I'm trying to do and others are trying to do. Okay, getting rich is not the result of saving or thrift. Many very penurious people are poor, while free spenders often get rich. This is very true. I find the cheapest people have the least money and the most generous people have more money. Have you found that? Anyway, so now, nor is getting rich due to doing things which others fail to do, for two men in the same business often do almost exactly the same things, and one gets rich while the other remains poor or becomes bankrupt. I think that's true. From all these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. If getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes always produce like effects, then any man or woman who can do things in that way can become rich, and the whole matter is brought within the domain of exact science. The question arises here whether this certain way may not be so difficult that only a few may follow it. This cannot be true, as we have seen, so far as natural ability is concerned. Talented people get rich and blockheads get rich. Intellectually brilliant people get rich and very stupid people get rich. Physically strong people get rich and weak and sickly people get rich. Some degree of ability to think and understand is, of course, essential, but insofar natural ability is concerned, any man or woman who has sense enough to read and understand these words can certainly get rich. Amen. Also, we have seen that it is not a matter of environment. Location counts for something. One would not go to the heart of the Sahara and expect to do successful business. Getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with men and of being where there are people to deal with. And if these people are inclined to deal in the way you want to deal, so much the better. But that is about as far as environment goes. If anybody else in your town can get rich, so can you. And if anybody else in your state can get rich, so can you. Again, it's not a matter of choosing some particular business or profession. People get rich in every business and in every profession, while their next door neighbors in the same vocation remain in poverty. I think this is important to note, that it is very true that actually with some personal work and some mental mindset changes, you can do anything you want and make a great living at it. It's not like certain professions are the only ones that make the money. It is true that you will do best in a business which you like and which is congenial to you. And if you have certain talents which are well developed, you will do best in a business which calls for the exercise of those talents, of course. Also, you will do best in a business which is suited to your locality. An ice cream parlor would do better in a warm climate than in Greenland. And a salmon fishery will succeed better in the Northwest than in Florida, where there are no salmon. Duh, right? But aside from these general limitations, getting rich is not dependent upon your engaging in some particular business, but upon your learning to do things in a certain way. If you are now in business and anybody else in your locality is getting rich in the same business while you are not getting rich, it is because you are not doing things in the same way that the other person is doing them. No one is prevented from getting rich by lack of capital. True, as you get capital, the increase becomes more easy and rapid. But one who has capital is already rich and does not need to consider how to become so. No matter how poor you may be, if you begin to do things in a certain way, you will begin to get rich. In other words, a lot of people wait to start their business till they have money. But I would say just get started and you'll begin to have capital. The getting of capital is a part of the process of getting rich. And it is a part of the result which invariably follows the doing of things in a certain way. You may be the poorest man on the continent and be deeply in debt. You may have neither friends, influence, nor resources, but if you begin to do things in a certain way, you must infallibly begin to get rich, for like causes must produce like effects. If you have no capital, you can get capital. If you're in the wrong business, you can get into the right business. If you are in the wrong location, you can go to the right location. And you can do so by beginning in your present business and in your present location to do things in a certain way, which causes success. So Liz here, of course, we're going to get into his description of the certain way. But I will tell you that what I tell my coaching clients is that if they're in a job they don't like, I say, be the best at that job that you can. Be really good and get ready for the upgrade. Like work at a job or a promotional level higher than what you have. Bring the best business you can with the best attitude. Because I think the universe or spirit or God prepares you for your next thing, your next stage of success. So I wouldn't sit around going, oh man, this job sucks. I would be the best, whatever you can be. I have a friend who works in a pizza parlor, and I told her, be the best pizza parlor person you can be, and it will set you on your way to your next steps and what you want to do. And she's highly talented. But I try to tell people, I remember hearing a sermon by Andy Stanley back in the day about even how a guy who ran a porta potty business was so happy and successful, even though he smelled other people's poop every day. He just was so successful and happy, and how he was cheery anyway. So, I mean, I like what he's saying, like, you can just get started and the universe will provide. And it's so interesting because as you change your mindset about being successful, as he says, doing things in that certain way, you will find opportunities coming to you, money coming to you, helps coming to you. And it's really, really wonderful. The next chapter is called Is Opportunity Monopolized? And we'll get to that next time. Anyway, take care, folks. I am a mindset coach. I'm Liz LeClaire, and you can find me at Intuitive Consulting at protonmail.com. And if you would like, my coaching is open at the moment. If you'd like some coaching, again, it's Intuitive Consulting at protonmail.com. Anyway, guys, blessings and take care.